Okay. So we just kind of dabbled in postmodernism yesterday. We will continue on and we will stop talking so that the people who are watching this don't go, no, I can't hear because y'all are talking. So obviously postmodernism is an atheistic worldview. There is no God, so God is out of the picture. It is culture driven. You will see that as we walk through this. Most of the culture at this point in time, a lot of the culture, I shouldn't say most, a lot of the culture at this point in time comes from a vantage point of postmodernism. Movies, songs, TV shows, a lot of them have a postmodern bent. There's no purpose, there's no God, there's no such thing as truth. It is experiential. I don't know why they say no self-rule. Everyone gets to make up their own rules. If they mean self-rule as in a country having self-rule, that would be true of postmodernism. Generally speaking, what postmodernism does is it takes the accepted way of conducting one's life and seeing the world as it has been seen for several generations, thrown out, and now there's no rules, there's no expected thing, way to do anything. And certainly, when my parents were growing up, and maybe when your grandparents were growing up, they found meaning in having a family and having a job and supplying what their family needed and going to church and having friends and things like that. And that is not necessarily the culture that you're growing up in. I remember hearing one time on the radio that the invention that most impacted how we connect with one another in neighborhoods was the garage door opener. Because you're driving into your garage, you open the garage, you pull in, you close the garage, and you go into your house. Before, if you had a garage, you had to pull it up, then you had to pull it back down. But a lot of people didn't have garages. And largely people, I'll go back to my own childhood. Everywhere we lived, I was out playing with kids in the neighborhood all the time. I was able to, ride my bike down to the baseball field by our high school. I play kickball or something down there. And my parents' friends were at our house frequently, and they were at their houses frequently. We hung out. I mean, I'll just use myself as an example. Like, I've got neighbors. We talk to the neighbor next door when we're outside and they're outside. Mabel probably loves the guy next door. She loves me. Because whenever she starts crying when he comes out of his house, and she just sits and she just waits for him to come over. But that's about as much. Like, those are the neighbors who are closest to me. We've never been in their house. They've never been in our house. And that's not the way it was when I was there. But that's pretty common now. Now I have friends who live in their homes, but they aren't my neighbors. They're church friends, school friends, something like that. And that's very postmodern, to do your own thing, do what's best for you. Community is not valued. And so here's some examples of postmodernism in our society. I will say that these are dated, and I've wanted to update them, but I just never have. You probably know of most of them, and one or two of them, I have no idea why they put that in, but we'll find out. So this is The Matrix, a movie that of sort of an alter society or alter universe. I don't know. Anybody seen The Matrix? Yeah. So Eli, give a little. synopsis.
Basically, there's a man that lives a pretty bland and like a life kind of devoid of anything that's amazing. But he kind of gets offered this opportunity to wake up from his reality. And the truth of it all is, the truth of it all is that robots have kind of taken over the universe, and so they're all living in these like capsules, being a perception of reality when they can really wake up from it and try to rebel against the system.
Okay, and that's definitely postmodern, right? It's not the normal way of life. It's a completely altered way of life. Anyone else who's seen it? Yeah.
I mean, basically, it's like reality is a simulation is possible. There's no higher power. It's just like we're all wasting our lives in some fake reality.
And your reality is your reality and my reality. So we don't share a common reality. Right? Yeah.
So I would like to put something like that. It is very similar to the Lego movie. If you're talking about this, this guy Emmett lives.
Let's go.
The guy Emmett lives in his own world. Apparently, he was born that way. Until he finds the piece of resistance, and he's introduced into this whole different world of master builders, and it turns out his entire life is fake, and ran by robots, aka the micromanager. Who needs to fight back against it, otherwise everyone's going to be
And what that then causes me to think is we're trying to get postmodernism in the heads of young children.
Yes.
I would say it is pushing for people to find the real truth about the world. The whole thing about like the two options is that like you're in a simulation, I can't pull you out of it, but if you're a human being, these robots are not giving you a choice, so I'm giving you a choice. You want to live your comfortable life where you know you're in the capsule, or you want to break out of the capsule. So as much as it could be like, this is my reality, this is your reality, it's like pushing for breaking out of the fake reality and finding the actual truth. Like a movie, they actually defeat
No, they didn't beat the bad guys. They didn't beat the bad guys in the Matrix.
They didn't defeat the bad guys in the Matrix, but in the Lego
Not the
movie.
original.
Have you seen the Matrix 3?
No,
But just that
Oh,
there
really?
can be multiple realities is a postmodern.
but the original one was based off an anime movie that was talking about how the news and the things the lies being pushed by the media or for a reality to something totally different than what it is. And it's only the people who fight to break out of it that live in the truth. And I'm sure you can take it out the Matrix, but the original copy of the story is more about finding the truth rather than just what is reality.
And I think you've touched on something, and I've mentioned this before, that I think is the greatest problem of our time. Not spiritual, Jesus is most important, is that our society is having trouble defining or understanding or knowing what is and what is not, what is true and what is false. And that is a huge problem for our society. We can no longer know who's telling us the truth and who's telling us the lies.
That's why I disagree that this is postmodernism, because further in that world they're giving everyone the choice of like, hey, you can stay here if you want, but we're gonna go right back and find the truth. They can't force you to do it. It's the original concept, the original story, which the directors are supposed to be great directors, but the whole thing is finding the truth out of the lies. Having this one.
Okay, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But they could break out to find the real truth, and I think they found the real truth, and it's not real.
Yeah.
And that happens. That really happens in life, right?
That happens in life, but
So there at least parts of it are postmodern.
Anti-postmodern. Because it's like everyone in that reality is living their own truth. But it's not the real truth outside of that. I think it's almost anti-postmodern.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
breaking out of the lies that everyone is
System.
fed.
That
And
might,
it's,
that might
yeah,
be
so like
exactly.
in the movie,
I know more about
why
it.
would they search for truth if there is no truth? In the original movie, there's a robot ran
Wow.
I will confess that I have never watched The Simpsons in my life. Just the commercials were enough to keep me from watching it. But what I think that this is saying is that in generations past, you largely had. This is not. Let's put it this way: how the American family has been portrayed has changed markedly over the years. I don't know if you've ever heard about like Father Knows Best or Leave It to Beaver or if there was a mother and there was a father, there was a nuclear family. The kids were generally submissive and obedient, and there was usually some character that was like in Leave It to Beaver. It was what was the guy's name? Eddie, the next door. That was the rebel, but even he wasn't anything like today. My favorite TV show growing up was Brady Bunch, and it was a little bit scandalous when it started. I'd still say it's my favorite TV show. I said that for decades, but then have some. But oh, you have tennis, yeah, go. And when. So it was Brady Bunch was somewhat scandalous because this was a second marriage. This was a blended marriage, and in the story, or at least in the storyline, I don't know if this was ever said in the show, but this was what the story that was written by the writers. The father, Mr. Brady, remember his first name. His wife died, but the mom, Mrs. Brady, and that was scandalous. Have that on TV. Now, that's like the early 70s, and that's a long time ago. But that's a huge change in that amount of time. And families um, I hope that can't be seen. This is I don't think it's on TV anymore, but it was called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And it was,
Yeah, I heard about that.
it was, so there was gay men who taught straight men how to dress and how to groom themselves and how to act in such a way as to find females. And again, something that would have never been around. I don't know anything about South Park. I know it a bunch of movies. There's a lot of yelling and there's a lot of frats, but I don't know anything about South Park.
South Park is kind of it's sort of funny. It's not quite on like Rick and Morty levels. It's like a little bit more than Phineas.
Okay, but I'd rather know what is postmodern.
Postmodern about South Park?
No idea.
I
swear
I guess
That wasn't on TV either, so.
Yeah, so I guess the best thing I can say about South Park, the best way I can put it into like postmodernism with South Park is like it does feel a lot more like the kids are
You would know.
It's a lot more like old jokes like the kids would make
The Brady Bunch where the dad was wise and gave advice and dad's jerk. Okay, I get that. Okay, anybody know who that is? He's got to be dead now. He was dead like 30 years ago. So this is Dr. Kevorkian. Dr. Kevorkian, and does that name ring any bells at all?
No.
Yes.
He is the person who is He is the person that is responsible for physician-assisted suicide in the United States. He was the first physician to assist suicide. And he did so, he went to jail because he did so illegally. But he's the reason why now some states have physician-assisted suicide.
Like you.
Yes.
Probably good to mention that also, it's not just people that are just like, I just want to die. So like,
It
it's
isn't
like
just
a lot
that.
of people,
Yeah.
a lot of people
A
have
lot
like
of people
terminal
who are
illnesses,
terminal already.
and they're like, I'm done. Like I'm gonna be dead in 7 months, and I don't want to be. Yeah, like they're in pain, and their quality of life is not good anyways.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although I would submit that, and I've sat at the bedside
Not that
of
it's
both of my
good,
parents that died, and we have the ability to keep people comfortable. And both of my parents were kept comfortable in that position, and so was my mother-in-law. But you also can't know what that settlement might. We don't know the future. And I understand. I understand that you have a person who has some sort of terminal illness, but I've also seen people with terminal illnesses that had way more than 7 months. But it doesn't have to be that kind of a situation. Legally, it doesn't. And then this is Pulp Fiction. Anybody seen Pulp Fiction?
Oh, I've heard it.
So Pulp Fiction is very gory, very full of language, and this is postmodern because you know how when you tell a story, you tell it linearly, right? This happened and then this happened. It's all out of order. And you don't know if this is the beginning, or is this the middle, or is this the end, or is this 3/4 through, and you have to piece together the story because it's all out of filter. Very postmodern idea. There's no accepted rules to anything. I have no idea why Starbucks.
Starbucks!
Yes! I don't
Because they
know.
removed the ice cream. Big Coffee is pushing the postmark.
Only thing I can
Watch out for
possibly,
Big Coffee.
and Morgan, I love that. That's just so cute. So I all I can think of is that they don't like Starbucks politics. I don't know. Maybe it's the logo. I don't know. I don't know. I go to Starbucks, so I don't know.
It's because coffee bad.
But this one's my favorite.
What is
This is, I'm going to read to you about it, but this is an art museum on I can't remember which college campus it's on, but it's an art museum, and ladies, Lexi. Yeah, you need to not talk when I'm talking. This is like a fifth. Got it? So it was postmodernist architects that designed and built this. And they decided to design it so that it defied all of the, what am I trying to say? The laws of physics. And there were staircases that went to nowhere. There were poles that didn't go all the way down to the ground. This is the rest of that story. After the museum's completion, the building was plagued with a series of construction and design issues that tarnished its public image. Unfortunately for the I misspelled constructionists everywhere, these flaws appeared to be the result of an ambitious design with an intentional disregard for the practical considerations of traditional architects, a foundational axiom of the doctrine.
Go figure, if you
So
don't base
you're
it on
not gonna
physics, it
work-
falls apart.
Exactly. So in 2003, the building underwent an invasive 3-year renovation only 14 years after its christening. As it approaches its 25th anniversary, I can't remember, that's not the right time. Next month, it seems that most of these issues have been overcome with history, however, should continue to remember them in the context of this great museum as a testament to the price of translation between theory and actualization. In other words, if you can theorize all you want, but if you're not going to go with the truth of physics and architecture, it's not going to work. And so just a couple more things here. So how does postmodernism answer the 5 life questions? Where did we come? We are purposeless accidents, we are random, and no, there is no God, so we weren't created. Why is there such a mess in the world? People who advocate for universal truth, like Christians, are the problem in this world. Their belief in absolutes is what causes all the wars, caused the Inquisition, caused the Crusades, and has a lot of bad things happened in the name of religion. Yeah, also in your religion. Ask anyone that lived in Russia, or lives in the USSR, or lives in China, or North Korea. So in which one individual or group attempts to assert power over another. So those power struggles that we have cause that. Is there any hope? There is nothing we can put our trust in. There's nothing absolute. There is no life outside of this world. And so we're to question everything, we're to doubt everything, and we are to believe and we are to trust the accepted ways of thinking and believing. What is my purpose in life? We must continually question everything in our world, applying the postmodern practice of deconstruction. We must also be tolerant of everything. Except anyone or anything who declares that there is absolute truth, there's something that is true for everyone. That is the one thing that cannot be tolerated. Yes?
So, if their whole thing is everyone has their own truth and everything should be like left alone, then why do they care about preaching it to other people? Yeah, I want to go find those
Maybe they think they're helping.
Alright, Clay, I think you said.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know what it does.
Are you answering that question?
No, he told me to play atheist advocate. I don't know where to begin like that.
And then what happens when I die? The body experiences physical death and then is done. It's you're dust. There's nothing beyond this world. So I'm going to play a movie clip for you, and then we'll be done for today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the clip, but just in case this clipped me because I mentioned it.